The Bitcoin miners, Marathon Digital and Riot platforms are absolutely ripping right now. And guys, today we're going to be covering those two stocks. And we're going to be talking about the Bitcoin mining industry. And let's hop straight into it. As you can see on the charts, Marathon Digital has been absolutely running up almost 5% today. And as you can see, not too long ago, it was hanging around $8, $9, and now it's at almost $20. And Riot Platforms, formerly known as Riot Blockchain, is now sitting around $16 and it was recently hanging around that $10 level, which is really, really good to see. And today we're going to be talking about the Bitcoin miners. If you know me, you know my channel, you know my Twitter feed. I like the Bitcoin miners. I'm invested in Riot Platforms, and I'm going to be talking about them today. So the first one we're going to be talking about is Marathon Digital. As you can see, this thing's been absolutely ripping. And let's take a look at it. As you can see, Marathon Digital has been doing a lot of big things lately. Let's go to their Twitter feed. Let's check out their Twitter. They have 28.5K followers, and they are one of the biggest, the second largest US Bitcoin miner. And I think they're also starting up operations in Dubai. Really cool stuff going on. And take a look at this. In November, this is from December 7th, 2023, this tweet was posted. In November, they produced 1,187 Bitcoin. Absolutely insane, bringing their 2023 year-to-date production to a total of almost 11,000 Bitcoin. And this is really good. What Marathon Digital does really well is they mine a lot of Bitcoin. Now, stick to their website, as you can see right here, setting the pace for the Bitcoin mining industry. 14,000 Bitcoin in their treasury, 23.7 exahash, 24.4 fleet efficiency, and 9 mining facilities. So they are one of the best, in my opinion, the second best mining Bitcoin miner, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But the one thing that I'm not too big of a fan of with Marathon Digital is that they are highly leveraged and they have a ton of debt. And that can play out in two ways. Here's the thing. Marathon Digital has more upside potential. I would say it probably has, the greater chance because it is a more leveraged company than Riot Platforms. The price could probably go higher than Riot Platforms because they're more leveraged. But at the same time, because of that leverage, they literally have no cash on hand, which is really, here's the thing. The Bitcoin mining industry, as we know, every time there's a halving, it takes a massive hit. Massive, massive hit. And this upcoming April 2024 is going to kick off so many miners. So many miners are going to have to unplug. And kind of like every other technology sector where at first you see a ton of companies and the big ones basically just end up owning them all, I think we're going to see the same thing play out where a lot of these little miners that are not mining efficiently are going to have to basically drop out of the game. And that's the thing with Marathon Digital. They have basically positioned themselves where hypothetically if the price of Bitcoin stayed under 30K for a very long time, which I don't think is going to happen, they would be kind of fucked. As you can see, they only have, 0.10, they only have $100 million of cash on hand, which is really not shit at all. So that's not too great. And on top of that, it's, they have a ton of debt. They're a super leveraged company. But with that being said, kind of like the reason why it's ripping right now is because if Bitcoin is doing very well and the stock market's doing very well, which the stock market right now is doing extremely well, and Bitcoin's doing very well as well, it's going to fucking rip. So personally, do I think they're going to end up going bankrupt or anything? No, I don't think that's going to happen. Not now, at least. Not now for this, at least. For this next cycle, I think it's going to be perfectly fine. I think people are going to make a ton of money. I've been talking about this for a while, but I think these miners are going to absolutely print, especially post-halving when they're mining profitably, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But now let's talk about Riot Platforms, which is the play. I don't have any exposure to Marathon Digital. I only have exposure to Riot Platforms. Let's talk about Riot real quick. And here's the thing. It's, if you take a look at the price action, last time, Riot ran higher than Mara, Now Mara is running higher than Riot. So at the end of the day, Mara is more leveraged. But as you can see from their past price performance, let's take a look at both of them. Mara, last cycle, made incredible returns. They used to be something else, and then they transformed to a Bitcoin mining company. But let's just take Riot, for example. Take a Riot's returns in 2017. Take a look at the returns in 2021. This thing got beaten down so badly. And I was scooping up Riot around fucking $3. I was buying Riot around $3, $4, $5, accumulating all this time here. These things got beaten the fuck up, and they're going to absolutely run again. They're going to run just like this. I think it's possible they could hit $100 per share or even higher. Like low-key, It's possible they hit, maybe 120, maybe like $110 per share. We'll see. Once again, it's just price prediction, so not financial advice and do your own research. But I really like Riot Blockchain. So as you can see here, they have a lot more cash on hand compared to Marathon Digital. They almost have 4 times as much. On top of that, they are the world's, North America's leading Bitcoin-driven infrastructure platform. So they are the biggest Bitcoin miner in the United States, and they are more popular than Marathon Digital. But here's the thing, they do produce less Bitcoin. As it says here, Riot produces 552 Bitcoin in November 2023 while expanding hash rate and miners deployed. So they don't produce as much Bitcoin as Marathon Digital. But here's the thing, we're going to keep going on to it. Let's talk about their mining. So here's the deal a lot of people don't understand about the mining industry. And before we get into this, I'm pretty much pulling all this information from these podcasts I've been listening to on what Bitcoin did, where they talk about Bitcoin mining and all that. But here's the gist. Pretty much, there's always a new Bitcoin miner coming up, and these Bitcoin mining companies, in order to remain competitive, they have to keep upgrading their equipment over and over and over. And especially with this next halving, pretty much if the miners don't have the newest mining machines that are coming out, that are, on the shelves, they're going to get fucked, and they're basically going to have to unplug and quit, and they're going to have to pack up shop. Now, what Riot's doing really good is, this is very important right here, and the people who are not into Bitcoin mining, they're not going to understand why this is very important. Riot purchased 18 exahash and secures long-term hash rate supply from What's Bitcoin Miners. The details, Riot purchases 18 exahashes primarily of MicroBT's M66S miners, secures operations for an additional 75 exahashes at a fixed price ceiling, past set for Riot to exceed 100 exahashes. This 100 number is very, very crucial. I've listened to a lot of these big Bitcoin miner guys on podcasts, but pretty much the companies that are going to end up making it in the future need to exceed that 100 exahash level, or not. They're not going to be a profitable business. They need to get to 100 exahashes, and Riot is taking they're taking the initiative. They're getting new miners in. They're building new locations. Really good stuff, and that's the thing I like about Riot. Obviously, BlackRock has a stake in them. BlackRock's invested in every company in the S&P 500. Same, BlackRock's invested in Marathon and Riot. Same with Vanguard as well. But Riot is the most liquid miner. They also, once again, they're fixing up, they're getting new machines in, and they're making sure they're going to be a profitable business post-halving, which is really important. Let's take a look at their website. They have really, as you can see here, Bitcoin mining, ESS, and Metron. And what you're seeing is the reason why they transferred from Riot Blockchain to Riot Platforms is, they're starting to become, more versatile with their revenue streams, which I personally think is a good thing for the company because, once again, you never know what's going to happen, and you want to have diversified revenue streams. So, as it says here, building the world's leading Bitcoin-driven infrastructure platform. And here's some of the stuff. Take a look at their, their mining facilities and everything. I would love to go check this out one day. Really cool stuff. But now let's talk about, some of the coverage from Wall Street. Obviously, this doesn't mean shit, and Wall Street is, full of Ponzi-nomics and everything. But take a look at this. This was an article that was posted on October 30th, 2023, and I've talked about it in other videos, but I'm going to run it back for this video. Bitcoin miners, and it basically, talks about how scale-driven consolidation as Bitcoin commences a new cycle, and then talks about how Riot is at the outperform rating, and how Riot is in CleanSpark, which is another one we're not going to talk about today, as market share consolidators with strong operational edge, self-mining model, low cost of production, high liquidity, unleveraged balance sheets. Marathon is a large miner with subpar costs and debt, no operational edge. So it's saying we prefer Riot because they're not that leveraged and they're highly liquid. Marathon, the thing with them is they're just very, very fucking leveraged, which can go in two ways, as we know. And also Riot, once again, the whole Bitcoin mining industry is beta on Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin runs, these miners run even more. Pretty cool stuff. And also, once again, they got beaten down in the bear market. There were some great prices. And I still believe Riot at $15, $16, a Marathon at $19. Yeah, you might not make money in the short term, but in the long term, this shit's going to continue to run. Not financial advice, do your own research. But then take a look at this. This is something that you need to pay attention to with these miners. Bitcoin held versus cost of production. Okay? Once again, Hut 8 and Mara, a big problem these guys have is their cost of production is very high. So Mara is mining more Bitcoin than Riot. As you can see, Riot does not have as much Bitcoin as Hut 8 or Mara. But here's the thing. Their cost of production is much lower, which is key. One of the problems, a lot of these guys, and these guys down here are going to be in real trouble. Some of these guys on this, graphic right here are probably going to be out of business a year from now. They're going to either, pivot to AI infrastructure, cloud infrastructure, whatever, or they're just going to, fucking land off the map, because this is the sweet spot. You want to have Bitcoin and you want low costs. Hade and Mara probably going to make it because, they have so much Bitcoin. And at the end of the day, as long as the Bitcoin price doesn't go to absolute shit, it'll be fine. But they're probably going to make it. And, I'm once again pulling this from, the people who are considered Bitcoin experts. That's where all my, knowledge is coming from, all these other Bitcoin mining guru experts. But I'm pretty sure the price, in order for, these miners to actually be profitable post-halving, I think it's somewhere around... It's somewhere between in the upper 40s or like through the 60s, somewhere around there. I don't know exactly the number. I think the guy might have said lower 60s. I'm not quite sure. But here's the deal. Post-halving, what's going to happen is, as soon as the Bitcoin price reaches a certain point, once again, I'm saying I don't know exactly that point. It's somewhere between like 50, 60K, somewhere in there. But once Bitcoin crushes that and goes to 70K, 80K, 90K, 100K, when Bitcoin goes past 100K, if it does, I personally think it will, these miners are going to absolutely fucking print, okay? That's the thing. The big scare right now is the halving and the profitability and how efficient are the miners. But a company like RIOT, for example, or, even Mara, RIOT is taking the right steps. They're getting the biggest miners. They're getting more miners. They're getting new facilities spun up. They're making sure their cost is low. They have cash on hand. And when that Bitcoin price rips, once these miners are going to print, you're going to see the same thing playing out that happened in 2017 and 2021, where it's going to be kind of trotting around because, it's not profitable yet. But as soon as these motherfuckers are extremely profitable, aka when the Bitcoin price moons, you're going to see this thing print green candles, green candles, green candles, green candles, just like right here. And once again, this is not financial advice, and do your own research. And I'm personally, there was a lot of fear in the Bitcoin mining industry during, the 2022 bear market, but I didn't give a fuck. I just kept buying, because I know the price of Bitcoin is going to go up. At the end of the day, it's like, oh, well, you're betting on the price of Bitcoin going up. None of this industry works without Bitcoin pumping, okay? And the reality is we understand that we have the halving coming up, which is bullish for the price of Bitcoin. We have the presidential election, which is historically bullish for markets. We have, the possible BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF getting approved and all the other ETFs getting approved. That could be extremely bullish. We also have the possibility of interest rates getting lowered, which will, very likely happen in my opinion. And a lot of other bullish factors as well that could come in 2024. So I'm extremely bullish on crypto. And if you're bullish on Bitcoin, and if you think Bitcoin's going to the moon, well, you best believe some of these miners are going to print. But that's all I got for today's video. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I love Bitcoin miners. I'm really into that shit. And yeah, guys, also go follow me on X, link in the description. And thank you for watching.